Hi, I'm Trent, and this is Studio 20 Live.
Hi, I'm Claire and welcome to the new episode of Studio 20 Live.
Welcome, Claire, first episode.
Yes,
Exciting.
welcome to me as well on the couch for the first time.
How was your week?
It was pretty good. I saw one of my favourite bands on Friday night, which was a pretty fun thing to do. But
Who was that?
The Woohoo Review. They're from Melbourne. They're a gypsy sextet band, so it's pretty good. What about you? We had Mother's Day last Sunday.
Didn't do much on Mother's Day. Got halfway through washing the car. But, you know, people at home, if they did more for their mum than I did, hashtag Studio 20 Live, let us know.
Exactly. Well, we've got a huge lineup today. We have Andre in the newsroom, who's going to let us know about the big stories that happened this week. And we have a new shortcut segment from the UOW Multimedia Newsroom.
And we've got Sean O'Gorman from PopUp Team to premiere the latest video, first time on our show, exciting. And we've also got Rangy Angie for another one of her rants. And then we've got Erin for My Kitchen Go Rules. That should be exciting. And
of course, to top it all off, we have another extremely talented performer in our performance space.
But first, we have In the Limelight with Marty Jansen, a sexual health officer from the local health district.
Well, welcome to the couch, Marty.
Thank you.
So you're here as part of Check Your Health by UOW Wellbeing. What's that all about?
Well, Check Your Health is a health event put on by the Uni of Wollongong Wellbeing Unit. So they got a range of health services on campus to promote different parts of health to students. There's people from drug and alcohol services, from mental health, the people from donating blood, and there's also students providing health checks.
Okay.
So what are you trying to teach people our age the most about sexual health?
So we like to promote sexual health to young people because it's one of the important issues, I think, for young people. We try to raise awareness about sexual health, sexually transmitted infections, healthy relationships and safe sex to give students the information they need to make healthy choices.
And why do you think students are hesitant to check their sexual health?
It's just one of the things on a range of issues that are competing for interest for young people, and it's not always easy to talk about for young people or get the correct information from. So that's why we love to come on campus and make some fun and engaging activities for young people to create that kind of supportive environment for learning about sex and sexuality and sexual health.
How often should we get tested sexually?
So yeah, we're trying to promote getting a sexual health check. There's an important sexually transmitted infection for young people called chlamydia. It's on the rise in young people and it often doesn't have symptoms, so you have it without knowing about it. The only way to know for sure is to get a checkup. So we recommend young people get a checkup when they change partners, when they've had some unprotected sex or casual partners, and just make it part of their normal health routine.
And so if young people want to get a sexual health checkup, where should they go and how much will it cost them?
Well, as well as today on campus where we're providing sexual health checks, young people can also go to ask for a checkup at their GP or at a local sexual health clinic. Okay. The good thing about local sexual health clinics is that they're often free and there's no Medicare card required, so it promotes that easy access for young people to sexual health clinic and services.
Great, well that's a really good cause to let young people know about, and if you want to check out what is happening on campus, go to the McKinnon building to check your health. So up next we have Amber from the UOW Multimedia Newsroom for a shortcut.
Thanks for coming in, Amber. So what story have you covered for us this week in the newsroom?
Well, yesterday Kathleen and I were working on Newsroom and we decided that we wanted to look a bit at the budget and how the budget was affecting our everyday lives and everyday costs. And what came up was the petrol tax. So basically we jumped out on campus and we talked to a bunch of students about their awareness of it and how they thought it would affect them.
Great, well let's take a look.
The highly anticipated federal budget was revealed last night. Treasurer Joe Hockey announced that the government will increase their tax on petrol to fuel road infrastructure.
The government has outlined $11.6 billion for funding infrastructure projects. $2.2 billion of that amount will directly come from the petrol excise.
No, I don't really reckon it's worth it. I reckon roads are alright. Yeah, I think it's plenty high enough.
Students and low-income earners will be the hardest hit by the tax, which is expected to increase twice a year due to inflation.
I only work like twice a week, so buying petrol now is really expensive anyway. I won't be able to go out as much, and all my money will go to petrol basically rather than what I normally want to buy.
What I get every week, it just covers petrol plus a little bit extra for other things. So if petrol goes up, then I won't really have that much extra money to spend on all my other stuff.
It'll definitely change my social plans and things, because I travel down to uni every day or 5 days a week, and it's sort of hard to do anything else if petrol continues to go up. It's sort of difficult to, I don't know, and living nowhere near town either sort of makes it even harder.
The petrol excise hasn't increased from 38.1 cents per litre since 2001 under John Howard's coalition.
We carpool, so I only have to pay for a third of a tank of petrol every week, which is good. So it really wouldn't affect me from the day to day.
Most students are unaware of the budget's petrol tax, but as of August 1st, everyone that drives will see the prices rise. Kathleen Ryan, UOW Update.
Thanks for that, Amber. So, how much do each of you spend on petrol a week?
Oh, a week.
Too much? Look, I don't even get a week out of my petrol tank because I drive that much, so it really is something that will affect everyone, I think.
Yeah.
I fill up 2-3 times a week and I might spend $60, $70 on my petrol.
Oh, man.
That's way too much.
Alright, but I have way too much. Maybe I should change unis.
So, but why do you think petrol would be affecting students so much?
Look, a lot of people commute down to Wollongong. I know I do, I know Trent does. So that alone, is something that's always on your mind. You're watching your tank deplete, and you have that cost you need to basically pay because you have to get to uni. So it really does affect all the students.
Yeah, so uni has the initiatives there's the free blue bus and there's the carpooling. Do you think these will be taken on by students more, or are we just so dependent on our cars that we'll just keep paying the rising prices?
It is in the culture, I think, to have that independence by using your own car. And there are a lot of public transport that you can take, but I did talk to a lot of students that come from rural areas and they actually don't have those facilities there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for that story, Amber. That was really informative.
No worries.
And hope to see more good work from the newsroom next week.
Absolutely.
But now we're going to go to Andre, who's also in the newsroom, and he's going to catch us up to date on what's been happening this week. Andre, are you there?
Yes, how are you?
Can we hear you, Andre?
Yep.
Hey,
there you are.
So the big story that was on this week was the budget being released on Tuesday. What are the main points that are going to affect students from that?
Well, it's a very big budget, so I don't blame anyone for not being able to quite understand what's going on in it. But one of the big impacts it'll have on students are, of course, the petrol levy that Amber covered. The other big one is the deregulation of uni fees. There's the $7 GP fee, which will affect students who visit the doctor. And there will also be reductions to New Start payments and unemployment benefits that a lot of students would probably go on to before they go on to work just out of uni.
Now, Andre, I believe the multimedia team caught up with the Vice-Chancellor to get his thoughts on the budget.
Yeah, multimedia reporter Harrison Vesey caught up with the VC yesterday.
These changes are the biggest changes in a generation. So what we saw last night was most probably as profound as what happened when Minister Dawkins changed the system in the late 80s. So people shouldn't lose sight of the fact that this is a really important moment in higher education in Australia. It's not the end of the world. I think the balance of funding is changing. I think what we have to do is to make sure that we offer value for money for the students who will end up paying more proportionally than they've paid in the past, and listen very carefully to the student voice around what constitutes value for money and what the expectation of students is here at Wollongong around the courses that they've got.
Right, so that big change that he was talking about in the 80s is when universities, you actually had to start paying for them. So then why do you think this is just such a massive change?
Well, the universities have gone through quite a lot of changes, like you said, since the 80s. A lot of that has been a result of HECS, which is one of the big costs for education in Australia. And a lot of the changes are to do with the deregulation of these uni fees is about sort of, they say meeting these costs, but it probably will mean that the average HECS debt will increase quite a fair bit over a student's lifetime.
And they're lowering what the actual HECS payback threshold is as well, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's gone down from about $56,000 to about $50,000, which doesn't sound like very much, but it's slowly decreasing. I'm going to suggest probably in line with the recommendations of the Commission of Audit last month. And that's just because it is quite a big expenditure, like I said before, HECS. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes in the future.
Oh, thanks, Andre.
And we've also got, in terms of university students, one of UOW's own students has had a gallery opening in Perth. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, well, Annie Sai is a UOW graduate from the Creative Arts program who's been selected from about 100 graduates from about 22 art schools around the country to be in the Hatched National Graduate Show at the Perth Institute of Contemporary Arts. So that's a particularly big win for a UOW alumni. She's created a fantastic artwork called Dancing Chopsticks, which is a kinetic interactive work involving obviously chopsticks and other parts that reflects what she describes as fragility and chaos. So it sounds like it's a very fascinating artwork.
Now, Andre, we've been concentrating a lot on federal news this week, but in international politics, India had their federal election this week.
Yeah, well, we often don't hear much about government in India, but it's actually the world's biggest democracy. There's about 881 million people registered to vote in India, and over 550 million people voted in the recent lower house elections in India's parliament. It's a big change by the looks of things because the ruling party is set to lose power to a Hindu nationalist party called Bharatiya Janata, which could govern in coalition with other parties. It's a big change because the Congress, a political group founded by Gandhi, has held power for 49 years of the 67 years of Indian independence.
Wow.
So it's a big change, and especially although it has its problems, it's definitely a very vibrant and thriving democracy in our region.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on that. And do you have anything for us about the Big Day In?
Yeah, I do actually. The Big Day In is organised by a group called the ACS Foundation, and it's focused on the technology industry. So focusing on, I think it was Year 10 and 11 and 12 students who are interested in information technology, which is one of our uni's biggest sort of courses. Companies like Google and IBM and Westpac and Microsoft are all getting involved in getting students interested in IT through some competitions and some demonstrations and presentations. So it sounds like a very good way of kickstarting an IT career for some hopefully future UOW students.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's a great opportunity for students to take that. So thank you for letting us know about that, Andre.
Thanks, Andre.
So now we're going to go to a quick break and then come back with the pop-up team.
So we've talked a fair bit about the federal budget and a lot this week, and the pop-up team was out talking to students about their political involvement.
Yeah, we really wanted to ask about if the youth are politically active enough these days. So it's quite divided this week about that.
Okay, so just before we go into the video, because you haven't been on the show before, could you tell us a bit about who the pop-up team actually are?
Yeah, sure. We started it as an assignment for digital media last semester. We just had to create some kind of digital artifact. So pretty much just make something that goes online and we could build an audience around it. So we decided to make vox pops.
So why, I know most uni students will be asking this, when you finish an assignment, why did you keep doing it?
Well, we actually just found it really fun. For the actual assignment, we would it felt a little bit more difficult because we had to do it for an assignment. But then all these responses we were getting each week, we were just really enjoying starting all these conversations with different questions and different themes. So,
well, let's take a look at the responses that the team got this week.
Oh, I just signed another petition.
Oh my god,
What was yours for?
oh, there was this thing about saving whales in South Africa, signed it, it has 1,000 signatures.
Do they have whales in South Africa?
I don't know, but they're going to be saved now because I signed a petition about it,
Well, I just sent a funny tweet to Tony Abbott, #Ozpol.
How many Twitter followers do you have?
I've only got 3,000.
Oh, yeah, well, I've got 3,001 or something. I feel like I'm just doing quite a lot for the world.
I know, I feel like we're just changing the world.
Yeah, one tweet at a time.
Yes, I do, and I think they're a lot more knowledgeable than, say, people from my generation.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think people actually research. Well, I think the younger generations are a bit more outspoken.
Probably more so, I guess, because they're more informed.
I'd probably agree with that, but I'd say they take a less concrete action.
They're pretty heavily influenced by the media.
Well, there's a lot of social change going on at the moment.
A lot more people are aware of it than would maybe 20 years ago.
A lot of people are fighting for marriage equality and stuff like that, and that's certainly become a bigger thing. More people get more politically engaged as they get older, maybe get crankier.
I think that it depends on your education more than it depends on your generation.
I think the majority of people don't actually do tons of research. I was talking with one of my mates and she was like, oh, I hate the carbon tax. And I was like, why? And she's like, I don't really know what it is, but I know that I hate it.
I think social media has introduced a different element into our political activism.
On social media, I think we're starting to be, since we've been, brought up in a later age, we have obviously different ideas.
People can just be on Facebook, I hate blah, 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 and then it just gets spread everywhere.
Things are kind of shared online.
I think the problem with that, though, is the general audience that they are exposed to through social media is people of the same age. So it doesn't really filter through to older generations.
Older generations are more likely to kind of get out and go to protest and things more old school ways, whereas we're more likely to sign petitions online and chat about it in there. Yeah,
I think they do. They're just not burning bras and standing on street corners with placards.
Every single young person I know does not like the Liberal government or Tony Abbott at all. And how the hell did he get in?
Young people do need to get involved a little bit if they want their rights.
Their opinions and activism isn't really affecting the rest of the population at large.
I think everyone's just rebellious, they're against it, but then they don't really care to make a difference themselves.
The thing that happened on Q&A last week, it was a strong setting for the younger generation.
I don't know, I thought it was brilliant. I was very happy that students could actually come up and be very public about it.
I think you can support something, but you don't have to be an asshole about it. I thought it was perfectly appropriate.
As younger people, we're not listened to as much as the older generation.
Yeah,
it's we don't really know anything.
I don't think anyone's going to listen to people that act like that.
And even though it was a little extravagant, it made its point across.
We all have an opinion, but we sit on our backsides. I love an activist, because I don't get up and do things myself. I love anyone that's prepared to go and chain themselves to a tree or whatever, because they're doing it on my behalf, because I don't, because I'm a little apathetic, Yeah. So I think it's great that people do that. I think it should continue, always has done, and I think people need to keep doing that.
Wow, I feel so active.
I feel so active. It's great.
Thanks for that, Sean. So what did you find out hitting the pavements?
Well, we did film this before the budget, but there was many people who were getting prepared for disappointment, I guess, over the budget. So they were quite passionate about that. But yeah, we found most people were just really divided over whether we were doing enough. They thought we were politically active enough online, but they weren't sure whether, hashtagging something would actually be beneficial.
Speaking of hashtags, hashtag Studio 20 Live, and let us know what you thought of the pop-up video.
So one of your talents said before that youth today, they're not going out and burning bras and waving their placards on the street. Because we are more on social media, does that give older generations the impression that we're not as politically active?
Well, that's what Ed and I felt when we were filming it, but then we got people who were just actually saying that the social media was actually doing enough, so it was quite surprising. I personally don't even know if it does. Like I wouldn't
You
even know.
You
if
saved those
it's...
whales in Africa.
Well, yeah. Yep. That's definitely a thing I did.
And I think it's interesting too, seeing how different generations react to how younger people are involved in politics. Like, for example, with the Q&A that happened, a lot of the news, a lot of the older people were saying that it was really inappropriate and that was not the platform for it, where a lot of your younger people on the show were saying, you know, they got their message out there.
Yeah.
So do you think that we're just trying to evolve our own methods to respond politically to
Yeah,
this?
for sure. I mean, if you are doing social media, then that's one way of doing it. But even then, like, for other people, like older people to attack the students for doing that on Q&A, well, that's what they would have had to do if they were going to protest back in the day. So I guess if maybe if because it's evolving, they think that's inappropriate nowadays, but you know, it's political activism like that. So
Thanks, Sean. One question before you go though. Where did you get the shirt? Because we need Studio 20 shirts.
Yeah.
Made it myself. No, I didn't. I don't even know where I got it
You
from.
found them on the shirt. I think you got
Just
the pop-up
found
name.
them.
Got the shirts
Just
first and the
conveniently
name.
found them. Yeah.
Shirt first and name. Well, thanks for coming in, Sean.
No
Hopefully
worries.
we'll have another one of your great videos next week.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go now to My Kitchen Go rules with Erin. I think she's going to show us how to make chips.
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm down at the Kitchen Go and I'm going to be making some crispy chips for you today. They are much healthier than ones that you'd buy and much cheaper and easier than you'd think. All you need for this is a whole potato or two, depending how hungry you are, and maybe a sweet potato too if you're thinking of watching the waistline. So all you've got to do is peel your potato like I have prepped here and cut it super thin, like really thin slices. Try not to cut it with your finger because that will put a damper on your exam time, just saying. So yeah, you've got to cut it really thin like this, super thin, and then you'll have some lovely little potato slices. Then all you've got to do is take those, line a sprayed brown paper bag, which is super easy to cut to uni, so that's really good. Line that with all your lovely thin slices of potato. Give it another good spray with the old olive oil spray, which is really easy. I got that from Aldi. Then a little bit of salt if you want some flavour, or you can add any sort of flavouring you want. Pop it in the microwave like so for 4 minutes. So we'll pop that in there. It literally takes 5 minutes, this recipe, it's awesome. And a lot healthier, which is great. Anyway, so that'll be in there for 4 minutes, and then once it's done, here's some I've prepared earlier. You'll have some super crunchy, crispy chips, which are delectable to eat. On the go, pop them in your paper bag, run to class. What more could you ask for? Have a good day. Back to you guys.
What more indeed.
We can
Thank you,
finally
Erin,
make
for that.
potato chips.
Well, you could probably make it with sweet potato as well. You know, that's all the rage at the moment, your aioli and sweet potato chips.
No,
so.
Claire, your potato chips are made out of plain, regular potatoes.
Well, that at least they're actually made of real potatoes, and like Macca's chips are just, you know, the
Macca's chips
powder
are-
potatoes.
They're not faux potatoes. They're real potatoes. Potatoes.
Oh, well,
Powder.
I'd be interested to see if you could also make, you know, those kind of like apple chips that you can get.
Once again,
Maybe we
too
can-
healthy. Just go.
Well, that was the
Butter-
whole point of that, being a bit healthy.
Oh, tell
I
us
don't
your
know.
favourite chip. Hashtag Studio 20 Live. Mine's Smith's Barbecue. Let us know yours. But now, I think we've got something special, Claire.
Yeah, we've got a rant coming up with Randy Angie on a student that we think is very close to a lot of students' hearts.
Hey guys, today's all about Simon's piling up.
Coming here and there, you finish one, you get another one. I mean, I handed one in today, I get another one.
Why one faculty can't talk to another and figure out to put their assignments on different places is beyond me, but I just can't get over the fact that I can have more than one thing due on one day, and then the next day also have more than one thing due one day, when about 3 seconds of communication could make things run a lot smoother.
Oh, that was our daily dose of anger. Thanks to Angie.
Daily dose of ranting, but I think the students do have a fair point. I mean, it's hectic. I know I also studied theatre, and everything is due in week 6, and so you'd have all your majors due in the same week, and you'd think that the faculties could just talk to each other and make it just a little bit easier on the students.
I do double degrees, and that was the same. Just all flopped up. Just got one stack of pancakes worth of assignments to do. So, yeah, if you guys think your assignments are all stacked up, hashtag Studio 20 Live.
Yeah, well, week 10, hopefully we'll be getting a lot of those through.
Yeah, well, assignment period. But this brings us to our special performance. Jessica Allen has an original composition with us. So take it away, Jessica.
I never thought I'd miss anyone as much as I do you. Writing on paper to see it clearer, not that I wanted to. Blowing out the candles to watch you fall, burning all the paper to make you go, and I never thought I'd miss you. Running away so I could display the thoughts running through my head, thinking about you, not that I meant to bring you back again. Blowing out the candles to watch you fall, blowing out the candles to make you go, and I never thought I'd miss you. When I see it clearly, I'm glad you never stayed, thinking I would miss you in each and every way. I am glad you're gone, that I'm here without you. I don't think I need you anymore. Blowing out the candles to watch you fall, burning all the paper to make you go, and I never thought I missed burning all the paper to make you go, blowing out the candles to watch you fall, and I never thought I'd miss you.
That's fantastic, Jess. Thank you very much. So, what inspired that song? What inspires your music?
Mostly one person in particular. We had a falling out a couple of years ago, and this song is about me burning everything that has to do with them. Yes.
Very nice. So, you have your own SoundCloud account where people can listen to you?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's that under?
Jessica Allen Music.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make sure I'm going to go home and listen to all of it tonight. Workout music.
Type it into Google and everything comes up.
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Right, well, I think that might have turned the final page in this chapter of Studio 20, Claire.
Yeah, it's a great way to wrap up the show. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to all our viewers who are watching, and catch us next week on Thursdays at 1 o'clock.
See you guys then.